it's Em. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you have all had a lovely week. Today we are going to be doing our April reading wrap up. Now, I am definitely getting a little tired of this reading challenge that I'm doing. I don't hate it, but I just feel behind, and with my current work schedule, there's just not a lot of time to read anymore, and so I'm feeling a little disheartened, but that's okay. If you've been following me for a while, then you know that I have been doing a 100 books in 100 days challenge, so my monthly reading wrap-ups have been stacked with books because I have spent all of my free time reading. My life had a bit of a schedule change, so we're not reading as much, but that's okay. So let's get into what we read in the month of April. I'm gonna start with all the physical books and then get into the books that I had to check out from the library or the audiobooks that I can't just show you. So we're gonna start with the physical ones, and these are in no particular order. I read The Poetry of Emily Dickinson. I rated this, I think, a 3 out of 5 stars. Poetry really is hit or miss for me, and I think some of Emily Dickinson's poems sort of spoke to me, and then others I really just didn't care about. And I'm sure that goes for a lot of poetry, especially books that have a compilation of an author's poems. I did tab and highlight the ones that I really liked, but overall, this was not my favorite read. I don't know if Emily Dickinson is just not for me, or if poetry in general is not for me. I don't read a lot of poetry, which is why I wanted to pick this up in the first place. Those are just my thoughts on it. Then I read the first volume of the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess manga. This is probably my favorite Zelda game that I have played, closely followed by Skyward Sword. I have never read the manga before. One of my best friends, Jonathan, has read this entire series and keeps telling me I have to read it. And I'm finally getting around to it, Jonathan. This is partially for you. So anyways, I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. This is so insanely good. I love manga to an extent. I think it really depends on the manga. I read Home Office Romance a while ago. Loved that one. But then I also read The Ancient Magus Bride, and that just wasn't my favorite, even though I have the first volume. But this, I'm going to be eating this series up. And oh my goodness, I just need to go get the next one. I read A Treasury of Peter Rabbit by Beatrice Potter, and this was a 5 out of 5 stars because it's so cute and the illustrations are gorgeous, and it made me just feel my spring vibes. I mean, look at that. Oh, I love Beatrix Potter. I love the vibe, and I've mentioned this before, but this is what I want my spring aesthetic to be. Like cottagecore watercolor grandma. This is what I want. I also read The Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars, almost like a 4.5. This was so good. If you like paranormal, low fantasy romance, sort of, if that makes sense, this is for you. I read Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, and I rated this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. This was the slowest read for me in the sense that the stakes were so low. If there aren't high stakes, then why are we here? Does that make sense? So overall, this wasn't the book for me. I also read The Curious Kitten at the Chibaneko Kitchen by Yuta Takahashi, and I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars because wow, this book was so good. This book is about this kitchen, the Chibaneko Kitchen, that serves remembrance meals to help those who have lost a loved one remember their loved ones. But what happens is when they eat these remembrance meals, they get to see their loved ones for the last time, and it is this beautiful story of grief and love and what it is to move on and figuring out how to move on and make up for any mistakes made. It's just, oh, so sweet. I cried. This was so good. I also read The Kitchens of the Great Midwest by J. Ryan Straddle, and this was an easy, solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was a warm, heartfelt book following this girl, Eva, except it's not from her perspective. It is from the point of view of those that she has impacted or been in some sort of relationship with, whether that's familial, romantic, etc. And that is just so cool. You can see how people are connected, and you can see different parts of her life as she grows up through the eyes of somebody else. And there's really awesome recipes in here. This was so good. I read Tokyo Yeno Station by Yu Miri, and this was not quite what I wanted. I think I had a different expectation of what this book was going to be. Our main character, Kazu, he's dead and he's reflecting on his life, but I thought it would be reflecting through almost the perspective of other people. as he sees different people like come through this train station, but instead we do just see his full life from start to finish. Like, it wasn't quite what I wanted, but that's okay. It was still really good. I think I rated this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I read Gift from the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, and this was a 3 stars at best. Again, not quite what I wanted. I listened to this on audiobook, and the way it was read sort of droned, and this is following the meditations of this woman at the beach as she reflects on different parts of, you know, life, love, etc. It really focuses on women, and I think for its time, this was published in like the 50s. This one was published in 1955, so for its time, it was ahead of its time because it was talking about how women are seen and why there are these expectations and how we can break these expectations. So it was good for that, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. I think I didn't realize that this was published over 70 years ago, and I thought it was a little bit more recent than that. So I was like, well, we've already accomplished a lot of what has been said, and there are definitely still things that ring true. There were a couple lines in here that I definitely resonated with, but for the most part, this was just okay for me. I also read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I think I would compare this very similarly to The People We Met on Vacation with that whole past-present point of view switch, but this was done a lot better than The People We Met on Vacation. I was nervous at first because People We Met on Vacation was not my favorite Emily Henry book, and I was so worried that I was like, oh, is this gonna be the exact same thing? Like, hardly anything gets accomplished except we see the past and present. No, good stuff got accomplished. I really liked the friendship vibes in this one and the found family vibes in this one. The past actually contributed to the present. It wasn't just filler. I think the other one that I read was more filler for past, but this actually contributed, and we got to see how and why the characters are the way they are. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I think I want it to be more like a 3.8. This Emily Henry book, however, I absolutely loved because I went in with the expectation of this is a Hallmark movie, and I got exactly what I wanted. Because Emily Henry, in this first part of this book, makes it very clear that this is going to be a Hallmark book. This is a Hallmark movie in writing, and that is exactly what I got, and I was so pleased with this. Oh my goodness, I knew for the most part how it was going to end. I wasn't 100% correct. I think I was like 80% correct, but that's exactly what I wanted. And so I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars because it was just that perfect. During this month, I also found one of my new favorite books of all time, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I did not have to read this in school. It was not part of my school curriculum in middle school or high school. And so I had never read this before, decided that I was going to read it this year, and oh my gosh, this absolutely blew my mind, but not in a ugh kind of way. I think it speaks a lot on what is happening in today's world, but it's not so on the nose or depressing to the point where I was depressed reading it. I was so intrigued reading this book. It had my attention at every word. I listened to this on audiobook, but I then had to go buy a physical copy so that the next time I read this, because I will be doing a reread, I will be annotating this copy of Fahrenheit 451. This is one of my new favorite books of all time and cannot recommend this book enough. So if you did not have to read this book in school, go read it. If you did have to read this book in school and hated it because you had to read it, maybe just give it another shot. See what happens. Read it for funsies because, oh, this was so good. Now on to the ebooks, audiobooks, library books, etc. I read Tinnika Jones by Matt Boren. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely closer to a 3.5, but I rounded up for Goodreads. I actually really enjoyed this. It was an Audible original that I got years ago, and I've just been like, I need to get through these and finally read them. Of the Audible originals that I have, this one has been the most entertaining. I have not really been a fan of Audible up until this point, and I'm still not, especially with everything that's going on with Amazon. Like I don't have an Audible anymore. I don't buy my books on Amazon anymore. So I'm just kind of using what I already have. Would I recommend it? Yes, for the right reader. I also read Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. This did speak a lot on what is going on today and how society kind of loops itself and history repeats itself. And I read this really interesting quote once that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. I just think that this book reflects that quote a lot. This was not a school read. I never had to read this for a curriculum. So I'm glad I finally got around to reading it. I also read Glaciers by Alexis M. Smith, and I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. This was a recommendation from a friend of mine, and it was so warm and kind of nostalgic. It takes place here in Oregon, and if you live in Oregon, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, I think this will speak a lot about kind of what the culture up here is. Lots of thrifting, you know, being just environmentally aware, etc. So I really enjoyed this book. It was a very fast read for me. I listened to this on audiobook, which I was nervous about because I listened to audiobooks so quickly, and this specifically was in prose, but I feel like I got the exact same effect that I would if I had read it physically. I read What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, and I rated this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think I'm learning that these, I don't even know how to describe it, but books like this, what is it called? Follow Me to Ground, those types of books just aren't quite my thing. These like dark, mysterious, sort of sublime reads. So I've learned that, and that's okay. That's what this challenge was to learn about my reading styles, because I only read one genre before. I read Alone with the Stars by David R. Gilham. This is an Amelia Earhart Audible original, which I thought was actually really good. I rated this, what did I rate this? I rated this a 3 out of 5 stars, but definitely on the higher end of a 3. We follow Amelia Earhart and her experience, and then she radio signals for help, and this little girl picks it up, and it's kind of this little girl's story of how she looked up to Amelia Earhart and how she dealt with that. These Audible originals that I've got, I think were all for free for something, and so they're all 3 hours. So that, I believe, is everything that I read in the month of April. So really quickly, I just wanted to go over the books that I have remaining on my 100 books TBR. We're not gonna finish all of these, and that's okay, but we're still gonna go through them. We have The Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton, 1984 by George Orwell, The Kiss Curse by Aaron Sterling, Bridgerton, the Duke and I by Julia Quinn, The Giver by Lois Lowry, A Double Life by Flynn Barry, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I'm excited to start this series. I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to that series. Meet Me at the Museum by Anne Youngson. The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nai Vo. I read The Empress of Salt and Fortune by her, which was not my favorite, which is why I keep putting this one off, but I've heard really good things about this one. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And last but not least, the entire Anne of Green Gables series. That's a lot of books that I'm supposed to get through in the next roughly like 10 days. I think it'll be about 10 days when this video comes out. I genuinely have no idea how many of these I'm gonna get through. As I'm filming this, it is April 26th. I went to the bookstore today because today is Independent Bookstore Day as I'm filming this, not in real life, April 26th. So I did get quite a few books. And if you want to see what I got, go check out my Instagram or TikTok because I did a book haul on there, so go check that out. Okay, hi. Ignore the lawnmower outside. So it's been a couple days since I filmed my April reading wrap-up video, and I just have not been in the mood to film anything except for one thing, which is I want to reorganize my bookshelves again because the 100 books challenge is almost done. The shelves are starting to overwhelm me a little bit, so I think that that's going to be my project today, especially as I need to clean my room. If you guys have seen some of my videos before, I tend to clean my room a lot because over the week it just gets really messy and really cluttered. So it's time to just clear everything, do a little bit of a reset. Today is Saturday, and when this video comes out tomorrow, hopefully I will have a clean room and some nicely organized bookshelves. I already have in mind what I want to do with my bookshelves. I have been collecting more romance novels, so I think I want to have like a fantasy section, a romance section, and then like a classics kids graphic novel section. Will that actually work? I don't know. I'm hoping that with my TBR cart we can actually make this work. On my TBR cart are my pen pal Emma's birthday gifts that I still have not sent to her, so we need to wrap those up and get her letter out. So I think that that's what the rest of this video is going to end up being, is sort of a reset for May, getting the tasks that I've been wanting to get done. Grab some tea, grab some coffee, grab a snack. Let's clean and organize. update time. Obviously, the bed has not been made, but that's because I'm about to go do laundry and I think I'm going to wash my sheets and stuff, so it's going to stay that way. But while we're doing laundry, we're going to organize our bookshelves. Let's quickly take a look at the room now that it's clean and enjoy it. Okay, so I feel like I got a lot done, which is great. Now what we're gonna do is we are going to move our TBR cart, kind of clear off what's left on it. So I'm currently using it to hold the books for the challenge. We're just kind of cleaning up the cart, putting our current TBR onto the cart, and then we will get onto the remainder of the shelves. Okay, so here's sort of one shelf of TBR books. I genuinely don't know if we're gonna fit all the TBR in here. Well, I will say really quickly, I am not putting some TBR books on here. I'm not putting every TBR book that I own on to the TBR cart because, for example, I haven't read the entire Outlander series, but I own the entire Outlander series and I like the way it looks on the shelf. So that's gonna stay on the shelves. It's not gonna go in the cart, plus that would take up so much space. And we're already super limited. I am gonna reorganize the TBR cart in a way so that I can actually stack everything the way I want to. That's one shelf done. I started taking off books from the shelf and realized my camera wasn't recording. Sorry. But really quickly, this is my Cassie Clare shelf and we're gonna rearrange it, but this is going to continue being my Cassie Clare shelf. Even though I have not finished all of these books or read all of these books, I am leaving them on the shelf because obviously they're gorgeous exactly where they are. Okay, one last shelf to go. I will not be putting classics on the TBR shelf because part of the reason I buy classics is to just have them. So when I do suddenly feel like reading them, they're available. We're gonna clean up the cart now because it is insane and there might be some books on here that I'm going to donate and get rid of. I was keeping them more for the purpose of reaching my goal of having a personal library, which by definition is 1,000 books. At this point though, if I'm never gonna read them, why have them? You know what I mean? For example, I've had this forever and I got rid of it. I said, nope, I'm not gonna read this anymore, but before I donated it, I changed my mind and put it back on my shelf. And now I'm like, still, no, I don't think I'm gonna get around to reading this. So we're just gonna say goodbye. I do wanna read this. I did my own sprayed edges. I don't like how sticky it is though. I want to rebind this one, to be perfectly honest. Goodbye. I didn't like the other book she wrote, so what makes me think I'm gonna like that one? There's no rhyme or reason to the organization of the TBR cart. I just want them to all fit on there. Also, I'm very excited for this book. This is a stacked cart, you guys. Okay, so the TBR cart is done. I'm gonna go on my shelves and just see if there's any that I would want to not keep. And then once we've done that, bye, Jasper. Once we've done that, we will reorganize the shelves. I really don't think I'm gonna get around to reading either of these two. We're also going to give this one away because I've never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. just not part of my childhood, so this is also going away. So these are the books. Say goodbye. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is grab all of my romance books, pull them off the shelves, and that way we kind of see how many I have, because I want them to have their own space. We will do this also for children's classics and graphic novels. I'm also wondering if I should do it for dystopian, because I have quite a few dystopian novels. Like, I kind of want to categorize them by genre at this point, because I have plenty in different genres. Let's try this out. I don't even know if this is gonna work, but this is what I want to do. I genuinely think this is like the one romance book on here. I only have one romance novel on this entire shelf. I'm very concerned, but my book is shedding. The W is like coming apart. There's like a piece missing here. You can't see it on camera. But guys, my book is shedding. That's what this is. Okay, now I'm gonna grab contemporary fiction. All good. Okay, piles are starting to form. We have contempt fic, romance, mystery, dystopian, and then that tiny little pile right here is like memoirs, sort of, pulling from real experience, etc. I do think that I want all my high-low fantasy and romanticies to go on this shelf as best as I can, and then the rest will go over here, because this is such a bright and colorful spot with all the sun, and I think it's just gonna fit better with the romance and the contempt fiction. That is one shelf opened up. This is my romance, and don't judge, I'm just starting to get into it. But I've got more romance on the TBR cart that we're gonna have to figure out what to do with. But in the meantime, we're gonna just put these on a shelf and see where we can go with it. I'm gonna organize these in a minute, but also, how pretty. To it, the contemporary fiction stack, which I want to go just below the romance stack. Okay, we're still thinking. We're still playing with all this. We haven't decided yet. Mystery. Is it in alphabetical order? No. Do I hate it? No. No, I do not. Okay, I know this is weird that we just went straight to this shelf now, but I think I want to try something with the Cassie Clare section by moving it down maybe to this shelf so that it's not like oddly stacked. Also, just the amount of books that I have to really plan a fantasy shelf. Uncertain, but we're gonna leave it for now. this to be two separate things. Space for my friends. Am I super happy with it? But they're all on there. The Outlander series. Not on the bookshelf. Shoot. This is part of the children's, like, you know, middle readers. So we're gonna put these away first. I haven't been recording this entire time. Okay, well, enjoy the children's section and what I've done so far with the classics. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is most of the dystopian. So I popped the Outlander series here for now because I don't know what else to do with it at the moment. I genuinely don't know how to fit all these on here. Small stack of books left. I've got the 2 memoirs, which I think I'll just pop down here. These are like historical fiction. I don't know what to do with this. It did used to go on the selection series, but now it's kind of in a... It can still kind of go on the selection series. Alrighty, my friends, what a journey this video has been because I had no idea what I wanted to film. I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew was I want to organize my bookshelves, and that's why we just threw it into this April reading wrap-up video because why not? I've also already done a bookshelf organization video this year. It didn't need to be a second video, I suppose. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please show it some love by giving it a thumbs up or hitting that subscribe button down below. And as always, remember to take care of yourselves and be kind to one another, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!